Indians are everywhere, from Silicon Valley to skyscrapers in Dubai. But not every country welcomes them with open arms. Some places make life incredibly difficult for Indians, from racism to visa discrimination. Let's expose the truth. Welcome back to our channel, where we uncover the harsh realities and hidden truths of international life. If you're Indian or planning to travel abroad, this video is a must-watch. India has one of the largest diasporas in the world. Millions of Indians live and work abroad, contributing to global economies. But sadly, not every country treats them fairly. In today's video, we reveal the top 10 countries where Indians are treated badly in 2025 based on racism, visa rejection, job discrimination, and local hostility. Stay till the end to find out the most shocking country on the list. 10. Ukraine. Since the outbreak of war, Ukraine has faced major instability, but for Indian students and workers, the experience has been even worse. During evacuations in 2022 and beyond, videos surfaced showing Indian students being pushed, blocked, or mistreated at borders while European refugees were prioritized. This discrimination wasn't just momentary. Many Indians reported racism, lack of assistance, and visa complications. Local citizens, under pressure and fear, often blamed foreigners for scarce resources, with Indians being among the first targets. Even in peacetime efforts, students face difficulty continuing their education or getting fair treatment in refugee systems. In 2025, with ongoing rebuilding and limited resources, Indians in Ukraine continue to face bureaucratic hurdles, racial bias, and second-class treatment in comparison to European nationals, making it one of the least welcoming countries in the region. 9. Russia. While India and Russia have strong political ties, ordinary Indians in Russia face racial discrimination, especially in public places. Indian students and tourists often report being stared at, verbally abused, or denied entry into nightclubs and public venues due to their skin color. In universities, although many Indians come to study medicine and engineering, they are frequently targeted by local police for document checks and harassment. Language barriers and cultural isolation further complicate life. Worse, nationalist sentiment has been rising in Russia, and foreign workers, including Indians, are increasingly viewed with suspicion. Visa procedures are lengthy and opaque, and employment opportunities are few. Many Indians in Russia report feeling unsafe and unwelcome, especially in smaller towns and cities where xenophobia is more pronounced. Despite diplomatic friendship, the ground reality is often hostile. 8. South Africa. Indians in South Africa face an alarming rise in xenophobic violence, particularly in urban areas. Locals struggling with poverty and unemployment often blame foreign nationals, including Indians, for stealing jobs and driving prices up. Indian-owned businesses have been looted and attacked during periodic outbursts of anti-immigrant riots. While there is a historic Indian community in South Africa, recent Indian migrants and students don't enjoy the same integration. Police response to crimes against Indians is often slow or non-existent, and legal protection feels weak. Job discrimination and informal racism are part of everyday life for many Indians. In 2025, conditions remain volatile, with safety being a serious concern for Indian residents. The political climate hasn't improved much either, with politicians sometimes stoking anti-foreigner sentiments. For many Indians, South Africa feels like a dangerous and unwelcoming place. 7. Italy. Italy has become a hotspot for Indian agricultural workers, many of whom are undocumented or on temporary visas. These workers often endure exploitative labor conditions, poor housing, and little access to health care. Racism is openly expressed in some regions, especially in the southern countryside. Indians are sometimes underpaid or forced to live in overcrowded, unsafe accommodations. In urban areas, Indians face hurdles in renting property or accessing public services due to their ethnicity. Italian media and far-right politicians have repeatedly targeted South Asian immigrants, fueling suspicion and division. Despite Italy's need for labor, especially in farming and food industries, the Indian community finds itself marginalized and voiceless. In 2025, the situation remains grim, with many Indians surviving in the shadows of society, working long hours with no job security, legal protection, or social respect. 6. Malaysia. Malaysia has a significant Tamil origin Indian population, but despite their numbers, many face systemic discrimination. The Indian minority in Malaysia often finds itself excluded from educational and economic opportunities. Government policies have historically favored the Malay majority, leaving Indians with limited access to scholarships, civil service jobs, and political representation. Newer Indian migrants also struggle to obtain permanent residency and face job restrictions in certain sectors. In everyday life, Indians report facing racism in housing, hiring, and even healthcare. While there are Indian cultural centers and temples, many Indians feel they are tolerated, not welcomed. The tension has increased over the years, and in 2025, discrimination continues, particularly in rural and conservative areas. Although Malaysia appears multicultural on the surface, many Indians feel like second-class citizens in a system that structurally sidelines them. 5. Qatar. Qatar, known for its booming economy, relies heavily on foreign workers, especially Indians, to build its infrastructure. However, behind the shiny skyline lies a troubling reality. Indian laborers, particularly in construction and domestic work, often face abuse under the Kafala sponsorship system. Their passports are taken, movement is restricted, and legal recourse is limited. Many work long hours in extreme heat with little pay and are housed in crowded labor camps. While white-collar Indian professionals enjoy better treatment, the vast majority of Indian workers experience injustice daily. During global events like the FIFA World Cup, the abuse of Indian and other South Asian laborers made global headlines. As of 2025, despite minor reforms, exploitation remains widespread, making Qatar one of the harshest places for Indians seeking work and a better future. 4. Pakistan. Indians are deeply unwelcome in Pakistan due to decades of political and religious tension. While the two nations share cultural and linguistic ties, the border divides more than just land. It has created a divide of distrust and hostility. Indians traveling to Pakistan for religious purposes often face surveillance, questioning, and visa delays. There is very limited people-to-people exchange, and Indian-origin Muslims who visit are closely monitored. In media and public rhetoric, India is often portrayed as the enemy, making ordinary Indians targets of suspicion. Even humanitarian gestures, like medical visas, are politicized. In 2025, the animosity has grown worse due to ongoing conflicts, and Indians are advised to avoid travel unless absolutely necessary. Pakistan may share history with India, but in terms of treatment, Indians are far from welcome there. 3. China. India and China's relationship has grown tense, especially after the deadly border clashes in recent years. This tension has filtered down to the treatment of Indians inside China. Indian professionals and students face visa delays, surveillance, and social isolation. In universities, Indian students report being singled out and sometimes harassed by authorities. Anti-Indian sentiment is fueled by state-run media portraying India in a negative light. Business dealings have also become difficult, with Indian entrepreneurs facing red tape and even outright bans. Chinese citizens, under constant state influence, tend to avoid interaction with Indians. In 2025, things haven't improved. Restrictions are tighter, and trust is nearly non-existent. Despite being economic giants in Asia, China treats Indians as rivals, not guests. For most Indians, living or doing business in China is more frustrating than fruitful. 2. Kuwait. Kuwait is home to nearly 1 million Indians, but rising nationalism and government policies have made it increasingly hostile. In recent years, Kuwaiti lawmakers have proposed reducing the Indian population drastically, calling it a threat to local identity and resources. Indian workers, especially those in domestic service and construction, face harsh conditions, long hours, and abuse, often with no legal recourse. Many are underpaid or not paid at all, and their work permits tie them to a single employer, leaving them vulnerable. Public health care and social services are difficult to access for Indians. Even white-collar professionals have begun to feel the effects of growing resentment. In 2025, the environment in Kuwait remains tense, with Indian workers viewed more as expendable labor than as contributors. Discrimination is common, and respect is rare. 1. Saudi Arabia. Topping the list is Saudi Arabia, a country where over 2 million Indians live and work, yet many suffer in silence. The Kafala system gives employers excessive control over Indian workers' lives, including their ability to switch jobs, leave the country, or even keep their passports. Blue-collar workers often endure grueling hours and harsh desert conditions for low pay, sometimes without wages for months. Physical abuse and exploitation are alarmingly common, especially among domestic workers. Legal protection is minimal, and speaking out can result in deportation or worse. Indian embassies are overwhelmed with complaints. Even skilled professionals face cultural restrictions and social exclusion. Despite reforms on paper, little has changed on the ground. In 2025, Saudi Arabia remains the most dangerous and dehumanizing environment for Indian workers, a place of opportunity that often turns into a nightmare.